What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and today we're going to be bringing in a fan-favorite deck profile that I took to the Ultimate Cup, and I learned a hard lesson that way. So, without further ado, let's dive into the video and talk about it. So first off, let's get into the deck profile, shall we? And I learned some key facts about Ultimate Cups. If you have Mulligan in it, that means where Chakuriman is like dominant king, and you should not be playing the EX version. I think the original version with more option removals was more problematic for them in ways that they are not used to. So let's see what we have for the starting parts. First off, we do have Pagumon from... So reveal the top card of your deck. Add one to your hand if it is a black Digimon card. Otherwise, place it at the bottom of your deck in any order. I was going to play the new Mishimon, but at the last second I decided Pagu was the more optimal choice. But either way, they're bad choices against the blue OTK deck known as Metal Garurumon, because of how it comes up is that there are too many ways of bouncing your stuff. So you just have to apply pressure at all times, and I think the major downside was I wasn't able to apply much pressure if I had to stack build, and that was the big issue. But as long as we had this to be able to die, hopefully we got some value out of it before it got bounced. So that is our Digitama. 4 of them really was very useful. Then the bread and butter of the deck is BT4's Commandramon. On deletion, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You may play one Commandramon among them without playing its memory cost. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of the deck in any order, allowing you to basically get your stuff off, which is huge for any player that is playing this game. Being able to cycle in and just get stuff spit out really was important, and I think this really does help out that you need this Commandramon at all times. So at the end of the day, as long as this thing died and got you a free body back on the board, really did help out. So we play 4 of that. Then we do play 4 of starter deck 5 Commandramon. 5000 DP, calling it a day. He's just a big vanilla body, and I think for Commandramon numbers sakes, it is just really good to have him at a full playset. And that brings us up to a grand total of 8 Commandramon so far. Next, we are playing 4 Blocker Commandramon. If you don't know what he does, he's just a big blocker, 4 cost, 2000 DP. Just gets you to, hopefully when your opponent pops one of your Digimon, that you get him off the Commandramon to get a blocker out. Really does make it help you not die to the inevitable kill you moments, but definitely helped out. I think having the blocker one at full play set really did help out. That's 12 Commandramons. Now we're at the 2 cost Commandramon. So this one is just 3000 DP, 2 costs, helps choke your opponent out, and really can help you get to games. But that is just how it goes. That brings us up to 16 Commandramons. And then finally, the last 2 Commandramon in the list is Decoy Commandramon. This one's new to the deck, and that is because Decoy for any D-Brigade. So basically, if they are going to try to pop your D-Brigade, you can do a little bit of a protection, and that really does help out. The only downside is bounce gets around Decoy. Bounce gets around pretty much everything you're trying to do. So really walking into Garurumon hell there. Next, we did play 2 Chakuriman. So Chakuriman is just all turns, can't reduce play cost. So this makes it so your opponent, if they had Death X, which it seemed like the event didn't even need Death X's apparently, because everybody was just playing OTK stacks. So it just was better not to have Death X apparently. So out of that, it's just good to try to keep Death X off the board, and maybe the blue flare matchup and stuff like that just to slow them down. Really can come in handy, but outside of that, just it was a dead card at times, and realizing the stack version was just not the optimal play to walk into. Commandramon does better when it isn't worrying about stacking in an OTK format. Then we do have 4 our first champion from the new set. So Ex-3, this is Jamming Sealdramon. So this card is when you would play another Digimon with D-Brigade in its traits, it gains Rush for its inheritable. So basically, when you play a free body, or you play a 2-cost, or a 3-cost, depending on your memory, as long as you are in the ultimate, that's a free Rush body, and that can lead to being some good wins there. But outside of that, it is easily bounced. It does have jamming, which really comes in handy, but outside of that, you can be really struggling to get there. And it's a really good card, weak DP, because they'll just crash into it or kill it. So just something to think about there. And then finally, we do play 2 Grumbleman. Grumbleman, just hybrid game shenanigans. We play enough tamers to allow us to get there. So being able to Digivolve on top of your tamers can lead to being game wins. If you don't see Grumbleman, that's why we play 2. Hopefully both aren't in security at the time. And you can just Digivolve on top of your tamer. So that is all our champions, actually. And then finally, our last ultimate of the deck is Tankdramon. So Tankdramon is the new kind of ace of the in the hole kind of card. When Digivolving, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You may play 1 Digimon with D-Brigade in its traits and a play cost 5 or less among them without paying for its cost. Trash the rest. This helps fuel the graveyard and just speeds you up a little bit. But also, when one of your Digimon with D-Brigade in its traits attacks, you may reveal up to 2 cards from the top of your deck. And then you may play 1 Commandramon among them without playing its memory cost. Does combo very well with the Sealdramon's inheritable, and it can get you to just speed up. On times, it's really good, but most of the time you had to play the Hide and Raising, because if you brought Sealdramon early against, the fantastic known as Garurumon X Antibody, they would just bounce it. So they played more of a control style against this matchup, and it really gets frustrating because they can just bounce your stuff, and then you're basically back to square one, and you can't really get over some of their boss Digimon. We are playing none other than, in the level 6 category, 3 Darkdramons from BT04. This has Rush, so for its on play, you need to be at 3 memory to be able to activate this effect. So, on play, return up to 5 Digimon with D-Brigade in their types from your trash to the top of your deck in any order. And for each card you return with this effect, basically gain 2 memory. So you need to be at 3 minimum to be able to get the memory back, because you can't play a 13 on anything less than 3 memory on your side. So just something to think about there. It's 11,000 DP. This can just clear out win games with Rush, and it just happens that way sometimes. And then finally, the last level 6, we do play the new Darkdramon at 2. Anybody that says play it at higher is crazy, because this card isn't that good if you can't get the stack off correctly. So when you would Digivolve into this card, you may return up to 5 cards with D-Brigade in their traits from your trash in the top of your deck in any order, basically. And then to reduce the Digi-Evolution cost by 1 for each card returned this way. So this can be a free Digi-Evolution, which really helps out on top of our Tankdramon, because now you didn't pass turn, you get to swing, you get to play a free body, and maybe we'll have Rush, and then you just apply pressure that way. Your turn, you may play another Digimon with D-Brigade in its traits. When you play another Digimon with D-Brigade in its traits, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost less than or equal to the Digimon that was played. And then you can unsuspend this to get another attack in. If you have like a magical 6 memory, you can go off with it, where you can basically you Digivolve into this, or even just 3 memory, as long as you have a Tankdramon in there and you had 10 in trash, you could go into this, and then instantly hard play this, and that gets rid of most threats on the board. 13 play cost is huge, and that's free value there. Outside of that, though, didn't come up much. I didn't really make him, and I'm realizing that he wasn't really necessary for the tournament style we were in. We needed to be faster, and climbing stack isn't being faster. That's just slowing us down. So, something to think about there. And then 2 Death Exmon, because why the heck not? You need this card, especially against wide boards or anybody playing heavy tamers. Sometimes being able to de-digivolve the board and get stuff off the board can lead to being some game wins. But That is also a struggle there, because it depends on the situation and board state. I mean, sometimes if you can get them back to a champion, you can get there and you can win. If they are not in the way of getting back to a champion, Death X is just basically passing your turn, and they'll just go for the OTK. Outside of its 3 amazing effects, it's pretty decent. But at the same time, it's not a win-all conditional card. It does not win you the game every time. So keep that in mind. Then we are playing 2 Izzy's, because Izzy is our memory setter, but also on play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. If all the revealed cards are black, gain 1 memory, so he becomes a 3 cost, but place the cards on the top of your deck in any order. This sets you up because now you know what's coming next, and being able to do so really can make a difference. And then it gets to plan out your plays, know what you're going to draw, what you're going to need to do to basically set yourself up. So, all in all, great cards. Next, we are playing 3 Kazu. Kazu is our last tamer of the set. Ex-2. Starter main phase. If you have a Digimon with Cyborg or Machine in its traits, gain 1 memory. This keeps it your turn, adds you more memory and applies more pressure. And then when one of your Digimon with Cyborg or Machine in its traits becomes suspended, you may suspend this tamer to draw 1 card, and then you must trash 1 card from your hand. The added turboing to help spit out your cards and cycle through your deck really does come in handy, and it's very useful. Outside of that, nothing too crazy. Next, we are into the options finally. We are playing 2 Pride Memory Boost. Normally you play 3, but 2 was actually fine, because if it came up, it came up. Other times it just did not matter. You wanted more removal in aspects than you actually needed to actually filter your pieces. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You may play 1 black Digimon card with a play cost 4 or less from among them without playing its memory cost. Trash the remaining cards, help speed up your graveyard, and all that fun stuff. And then delay to be used for a later date. And that just gets you an extra 2 memories to extend your plays. So, really useful. And then let's get into the big boy options too. We had 3 Ulti Flare, because Ulti Flare was just necessary evil. Main phase, trigger D-Digi Evolution 3 on one of your opponent's Digimon. Remember, it's up to 3. You can D-Digivolve 1 if you needed to, just to set your opponent back in a certain way, or D-Digivolve 2, depending on what they had in their stack. Then delete all your opponent's Digimon with a play cost 3 or less. Really comes in useful, but really can be nasty if you D-Digivolve 3 and you get it all the way back to a Digitama. Really nice. And then we did play 1 Iron Fist Onslaught. I didn't want to give too much memory to my opponent, but delete all your opponent's Digimon with the highest play cost. Comes up situationally, but 8 memory is sometimes a little bit costly to kill something for 1. That's why I also wanted to test out a really new card that came from the starter decks, the Jetsmon starter deck. So the first line of text does not matter. We do not have a Sistermon or Royal Knight, but its main effect is delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost 13 or less. Most decks sit at 13. It can't kill a Mega, but that's fine. Being able to kill anything else in that security stack really can lead up to being some nasty shenanigans. The only time it really sucks is when they go into Omnimon X Antibody. Being able to remove this out of there or any of your options can lead to being death. But outside of it all, Quaker Blaster Blast Firefather was really actually quite beneficial than not. So to be honest with you, I think this is a good sleeper tech, and if you guys wanted to play it, I would recommend testing out. It's not a bad card. It is very useful, can lead into nice memory choke plays, because if you go to 4, then you can give them 3 back. Really useful. Sometimes giving them 4 can lead to your own death, so it's not always worth it, in my opinion. But being able to hit magic numbers and kill basically any Mega on game right now really can lead to some wins there. But all in all, I think this was quite a fun experience. I didn't play all the way through, I know that, but hey, this is a version 2.0 of Commandramon EX. Knowing what I know now is Ultimate Cups wise, if you are bringing D-Brigade to it, do not play the EX stuff. It is not fast enough. It is not beneficial enough. The Weregurumons just outpace you majority of the time, or they just bounce your stuff. So you need to apply pressure at all times. So lower level count and level 3 count is probably the better venture, and just turbo discard all your stuff that way. So all in all, I think this is pretty decent of a list. What would you guys change up? What surprises would you be? Outside of me probably adding more options for the Weregurumon matchup in an Ultimate Cup, I think all in all the deck did quite well. I don't know how well it would do in a regionals without the mulligan in there, and if the mulligan would affect any top cut chances. So all in all, I really enjoyed the deck, but there are changes that I now know, that is, you just want to play the Rookie Rush style when it comes down to anything with mulligans and Weregurumon fests. But outside of that, guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace!